What a sensational Sunday. I mean, I guess that's why they say it's the greatest two words in sports. Knicks lose.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
Well, what have we here? Back on a Monday. I missed you all so much, so much, but it's Emotion Monday here on Theoretically Speaking. Got my guy C-Cat here working a double duty. He's working hard. I see him pass the glass here, going back and forth through the studio. It's a lot of motion, a lot of action here on a Monday on Theoretically Speaking. And of course, I was being a bit facetious. Can't even get my words right after a great weekend trip to Eugene, Oregon, watching little sis graduate from law school. Amber, shout out Amber. Can't say the name without the JD now. And also, after a amazing Sunday, sensational Sunday that the NBA provided us, 2 Game 7s. 2 Game 7s that not only lived up to the bill, I would say it surpassed expectations. And the NBA did all of this while you had golfers in the PGA Championship at Valhalla getting arrested and other golfers breaking records. I mean, what an incredible weekend. Speaking of getting arrested, I don't know how Scottie Scheffler gets arrested and Diddy's still out there free. I got a bone to pick. But don't worry, Eric Adams, mayor of New York City, says he's going to be maybe revoking the key to the city. So there is some punishment up the alley for Diddy. But we'll see. Let's talk sports here. Let's get back into the Game 7s because people always say it's the greatest 2 words in sports. It's the greatest 2 words in sports, the most sensational, best 2 words in sports, Game 7. And, well, yesterday played out in a way that it makes you feel that's correct. But it made me think here on Theoretically Speaking, what are the greatest 3 words in sports? What are the greatest 3? Let's take it up a notch. Let's not just settle for 2. What are the greatest 3 words in sports? And our first contestant to let us know what they think are the greatest 3 words in sports, how about the New York Knicks fans, who, by the way, outside of Madison Square Garden, were a bit, let's just say, perturbed after the Knicks fell to the Pacers 130-109 in one of the greatest road performances in a Game 7 ever, where the Indiana Pacers now going to have the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. That starts tomorrow. But how about we go to Madison Square Garden and we hear what Knicks fans think are the greatest 3 words in sports. Knicks in 8. Did I get that right, C-Cat? Knicks in 8? That's what they're yelling outside of Madison Square Garden?
That's what they're yelling.
I don't know if you understand how the math of a series works, but the Pacers beat the Knicks on Sunday night. They moved on to have a 4-3 lead in the series, which means the series is over. The Knicks fans are clamoring outside of MSG for an 8th game. C-Cat, if my math stands correct, if the Knicks did happen to win said 8th game, because maybe, I don't know, probably ESPN and Stephen A. Smith would push for an 8th game in that series just so you can have some more Knicks coverage, just so we can push out some more Knicks content. Maybe we get a pregame motivational speech from Stephen A. Smith. I haven't seen one of those. What would happen if the Knicks, in an imaginary world, won a Game 8?
There would be a game number 9.
Well, there would have to be a game number 9 because it would be tied at 4-4. Knicks fans, you should be the most tipped. Like, if anybody's used to losing, especially on the big stage, I guess Knicks fans have been missing the big stage in the past few years, but you should at least understand what it takes to lose and then come up with a creative chant afterwards. For them to fail after their team failed, really they're pushed to failure by Tom Thibodeau, who did. We inevitably knew how the Knicks season would end this year, and of course it ended with just another array of injuries, with guys going out there and fighting like warriors. I mean, these NFL players that say that basketball players don't have a football mentality, how about I introduce you to the New York Knicks? Because those dudes grinded until a little dust of sand out there at Madison Square Garden, and that thing turned into a track meet where the Pacers ran up and down the court. But if I'm going to help you out, Knicks fans. If you do want another chance, which, again, the broadcast partner, specifically ESPN, I think would be angling to give the Knicks another chance, it would have to be Knicks in 9. It just clearing it up for next year. You'll be in the same position. You're going to have to probably be asking for more games if you want the Knicks to win a playoff series for next year. Knicks fans out there, Knicks in 9 is what you want to be roaring outside of your arena after you inevitably lose in the playoffs again. Just to clear that up. Also with the Pacers-Knicks series, I'm not going to talk too much about that game because it was such a blowout. I do want to single one guy out in Tyrese Haliburton. Soft move, man. Soft move, Tyrese Haliburton, who had an excellent game. He's the one that got the ball rolling for the Pacers. 4 3-pointers in the first quarter, 26 points, I believe, 10 of 17 shooting. He was immaculate in the Game 7 on the road. He's trying to play up this villain card. But I don't know if you saw the hoodie he came out in after the game, C-Cat.
I did see after the game.
C-Cat. Tyrese Haliburton in his, I guess he's trying to play up his brand a bit, get a few more clicks, get some more eyes on him. He wears the Reggie Miller choking symbolism, hoodie after the game to try and troll Knicks fans. And I love a good troll, and I love doing it on the big stage. The one correction I'll give to him, since I just got done with the Knicks fans who can't get their math right. I mean, the Pacers broke records and the Knicks fans' brains with the way that they beat up on the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Here's for Tyrese Haliburton, dude. If you're going to wear that hoodie, you got to wear it pregame. You got to wear it pregame, similar to how Michael Malone of the Denver Nuggets head coach, he wore his Denver Nuggets 2023 champions sweatshirt pregame. And thank God he did, because speaking of the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, he won't be wearing an NBA Champions 2024. Did you see my dog Ant Edwards in the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Game 7 finale last night, C-Cat? Did you stay up to watch all of that glory of the Timberwolves being down by 20 points, coming all the way back, the greatest comeback in Game 7 history in the NBA, and winning that game 98-90, bouncing the defending champions after they bounced the Phoenix Suns? Please, God, C-Cat, tell me you saw that masterpiece.
I saw the whole game.
And that's where I'll go next, because we ask, what are the greatest 3 words in sports on a day where we just came off of the greatest 2 words in sports, which is Game 7. And both Game 7s in the NBA delivered. Well, Knicks fans think the greatest 3 words in sports are Knicks in 8. That's because they're a little bullied in the brain. But how about we go to Minneapolis? Really, it happened in Denver. And we ask a guy in Anthony Edwards to tell us the greatest 3 words in sports right now today as the Western Conference Finals shifts to Minneapolis. Ant Edwards, take it away.
Okay. I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Bring your ass. Now, from today on forward, we already know that if there's one thing we can all combine as a sports collective and agree on, the greatest 2 words in sports is Game 7. And both Game 7s delivered. The first time in NBA history that both road teams won in Game 7s on the same Game 7 Sunday. Amazing performance from both quote-unquote underdogs. But Anthony Edwards, he tells you the greatest 3 words in sports as we get ready to shift our focus towards Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minneapolis.
20 years.
Bring your ass.
Bring your ass. I'm seeing people on Twitter saying that should be the new slogan for Minneapolis, Minnesota, which I might add, as a person that did go up there to watch Game 3 or Game 4? I think it was Game 4. As a person that went up there to watch Game 4 in person, I will say a great slogan, and that would get me right back to the Target Center. Bring your ass, C-Cat.
I think it sounds good. The big chant nowadays when you're about to win a series is "We want blank." Right?
Yeah.
We want Boston. How about just bring your ass?
Bring your ass.
It doesn't have quite the ring to it like that, but I still like it.
Anthony Edwards, man, his rise to stardom in the NBA right now is really unparalleled. To be doing this at 22 years old, and one of the biggest takeaways I had from this run so far is last year this time, if I asked you about the trajectory of Karl Anthony Towns' career, most people would say, good regular season player, a numbers guy, but not somebody we'll talk about when we write chapters of the NBA. If we go back and read the NBA Bible, so to say, 50 years from now, you could have done it and scripted it out without having Karl Anthony Towns' name in it. I think Anthony Edwards is going to turn Cat into a HOF, Hall of Famer. What say you to that, C-Cat? That's crazy, right?
Yeah, I just got taken aback. Listen, we spew hot takes, we say bold things in this studio, but I've never heard something that bold as what you just proclaimed.
I think the stardom, the leadership, and the ability to take the spotlight off of Karl Anthony Towns and enable him to just be him and put up numbers, and also what an immaculate defensive performance he had against the 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic. I'll continue to give Karl Anthony Towns his flowers later on in this show on Emotion Monday, but I just have to say it. People are talking about, is Anthony Edwards going to be the next face of the league? I will say this. Of course he will be. He has to win a championship first. And now it's more realistic than ever following that Game 7 win on the road against the Denver Nuggets, coming back from down 15 at the half, down as much as 20 points in that game at Ball Arena, for Anthony Edwards to help will that team to a win as he was getting the ball trapped out of his hands over and over, and for Karl Anthony Towns to step up in that spot. I think now at 28 years old, if you ask me what the trajectory of the rest of Karl Anthony Towns' career will be, I think it's more likely than not that guy can end up a Hall of Famer, because Anthony Edwards is 22 years old, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more winning and a lot more bring your ass to Minneapolis than we've had in the past. Did you know this is their first time in the Western Conference Finals since 2004, and the Timberwolves punched their ticket on the road at the defending champions arena and on Kevin Garnett's birthday, who was the one leading the Timberwolves back in 2004 to the Western Conference Finals. This thing is storybook that's happening in Minneapolis. It's amazing, CK. I am beside myself. You know, a few weeks ago, I was the one calling for this. I said the Timberwolves have what it takes before the NBA playoffs started, not just to beat the Suns, but also beat the Nuggets. I was a little worried after Game 5. Now I'm feeling like a king. Now, can I get a little Fantastic Voyage? Come on. That's how I'm feeling. That's what it's like. That's what the Anthony Edwards experience is like. It's not a bandwagon. It's not a fan bus. It's a fantastic voyage. Hop on right now where there's still room. Let me cut that off. That was some fun. But again, today I ask, we know the greatest 2 words in sports are Game 7. And the NBA delivered on that plus some with the amazing performances from last night. But what are the greatest 3 words in sports? What are the greatest 3 words in sports to you? 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline. What are the 3 greatest words in sports? Not 2. We know that's Game 7. What are the 3 greatest words in sports? And to me right now is bring your ass. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. What are the 3 best words in sports? For me, too, I mean, of course, Anthony Edwards, bring your ass. That's going to be a slogan here on out, at least through the end of these NBA playoffs. But another one that kind of gets me a bit of that tangly feeling, a little bit excited, C-Cat?
Mm-hmm.
Sunday Night Football.
Ooh.
Hey, after a long day of watching NFL Red Zone, come on. After a long day of watching, David Montgomery snipe Jahmyr Gibbs touchdowns when I got Gibbs starting, and I suffered through that, right? Maybe you just watched your favorite team lose in the second slate of games, and you're a little bit annoyed, you're a little ticked off. You get about a 30-minute, 45-minute break, and then Sunday Night Football. What a way to cap off the evening. Greatest broadcast. To me, the best broadcast for football viewing pleasure is Sunday Night Football, and I can't wait for the first one of this upcoming NFL season. Those are the 3 greatest words in sports to me as well. Sunday Night Football. C-Cat, do you have a greatest 3 words in sports today?
You kind of jumped the gun on me because my favorite 3 words in sports, they actually come before Sunday Night Football. It's when Scott Hansen goes, the witching hour. The witching hour. I know I took some liberties by using the word the.
Yeah, it's an article. I don't know if you're allowed to use an article as a word in this. But you know what? We make the rules. It's theoretically speaking, Theo Dorsey, C-Cat, we make the rules.
Yeah, the witching hours.
Yeah.
It's perfect when wins become losses and losses become wins. The witching hour are my favorite 3 words in sports.
And for you, between Thursday night football, Monday night football, and Sunday night football, which is your favorite primetime NFL experience?
Oh, it's not even close. Sunday night's the best.
Yeah.
You would think conventionally, right? We got overloaded with 13, 12, 11 games of football all Sunday long. You would think that it would kind of be tired of football come Sunday night. But
No.
it's the opposite. It is always the best game of the week, and we can't get enough. It only gets us ready more.
And the one thing I will say, my only pushback on Sunday night football as a former sports anchor in local markets, and I've worked for multiple NBC stations. Whew, when you're anchoring on Sunday night and you get yourself a lightning delay or you got yourself an injury delay and that game is going to overtime, and it's 1 a.m. and you can't start your local broadcast, I don't want to be media guy that complains and puts out the concerns of the local media community, but I got you other sports anchors. That might be the worst, because while you're trying to enjoy the great Sunday night football show, you're also waiting on it to end so you can do your job.
We got a good one
That's the
on
only
YouTube.
other problem.
Good set of 3 words on the YouTube chat.
What's
At
that?
Theo Speaking. G. Garcia says, blocked by James.
Oh, this must be a Cleveland fan. We're talking about the block 2016 NBA Finals.
No such thing as Cleveland fans. It's a LeBron fan, of course.
Oh,
This
you're
guy.
right. I'm tripping. I mean, there's a couple Cleveland fans out there. Don't do our folks at ESPN Cleveland like that. Shout out Emmett Golden. I mean, there's some guys out there that root for Cleveland sports.
I think that people that fantasize about that moment are 95% LeBron fans and
True.
5% Cleveland fans, just by a numbers game.
You're most likely right. If there's more LeBron fans than Cleveland fans, and I would say rightfully so after the way the city, the franchise, and its fans treated him on the way out the door. There's 2 sports franchises, or at least 2 sports cities that I'm actively rooting against at all causes. That's Boston, because they did too much winning, and that's Cleveland, because they do too much whining. Either one of those 2 teams, I don't care if it's the Guardians or the Bruins or the Browns, any sports franchise from either of those 2 cities, I actively root against. That's just my stance. Again, the best 3 words in sports. Hit us up here either on YouTube at Theo Speaking, or you can tap into the show 888-760-3776. It's a Motion Monday. It's also a Mike T Monday. Mike Tannenbaum about to join us. We're going to talk Tua Tagovailoa contract. We're also going to have to discuss what's going on at Vikings camp. No Justin Jefferson. Could he be on the move? Interesting times. Also, C-Cat, talking about the Game 7s from yesterday, the Minnesota Timberwolves improved to 2-0, undefeated in Game 7s in franchise history. How many other NBA franchises are undefeated in Game 7s? There's 30 NBA teams. How many other franchises have a perfect record in Game 7s? And that's courtesy of Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and the Timberwolves putting the smackdown, the absolute smackdown on the Denver Nuggets. I'll give you the answer after the break. Plus, we bring in Mike Tannenbaum to talk some ball. That's Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3.